Hello everyone, and welcome to the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Care Network. My name is Dean and I'll be your host. Tonight we'll be discussing episode 2 part 3, Understanding the Narcissist's Mind. This is a continuation after part 2. We're just going to go into some stuff that will be the stuff that we're going to broach right after what we talked about in part 3. The narcissist and what they want. Now, it'll be pretty clear to most of us who understand narcissistic disorder exactly what narcissists are after. They're after that attention. They're after that fuel that we give to them, whether it be positive fuel or negative fuel. It's just fuel that they need to basically fuel them as narcissists. They're looking for just any type of energy that they can get off of us, because essentially they're literally like energy vampires. This is really what they are. So when we're dealing with them, they derive this fuel from us in many different ways. They derive it from us by entering into fights with us, sometimes by talking to us in positive ways, in which cases we give them back positive feedback and they derive fuel from this. There are many different ways that they do this, and this can be fuel that's derived from people who are friends, people who are in our family, lovers, anybody. A narcissist can literally be anyone in our life. A great example of this is, again, like I've discussed, my most recent narcissist, which I've had the worst experience with in my life, was a woman that I knew for 15 years prior to us becoming involved in any romantic way. And I, at the time, didn't really see these aspects in her, even though I have a background in psychology and in criminal psychology. But now when I go back and look, I remember seeing now, or being able to identify the things that I didn't see back then. And I think for the large part of the time that her and I were friends, she may have been grooming me during those periods of time. And of course, because I didn't provide her the proper response or fuel at the times when she was grooming me, I perhaps didn't get into that thing that a lot of us enter into, where we become an actual full-on appliance to this narcissist that we're dealing with. So for me, now, after the fact that I've dealt with her and learned quite a bit more about narcissists in my last 2 years of study, I can now see that those things went on with her and I, even though I didn't identify them at the time. But, like I was saying, narcissists are motivated by their own wants and their own needs. They wish to possess you in some way, but possess your energy, possess whatever energy it is that you can give them, but they never really want to possess you completely. They always leave something out of that equation. They don't go all the way, because they know if they go all the way and they land you completely, there's no more challenge there to get fuel. And to them, this is like a challenge where they're trying to get this fuel off of you, but at the same time they're trying to do it in a balanced way where they don't set you up to be like the absolute number one all the time. They've always got to leave that little bit undone or unspoken or whatever, so that they can always come back and get more fuel off you. So this is why, you know, this is why you have golden periods with them, and then why you go through periods where they devalue you for a period of time, and then they may take you and shove you on that shelf and not deal with you very much while they're dealing with giving attention to another appliance that they're getting fuel off of. And then when that appliance starts to become boring or whatever, they may come back to you and take you off that shelf and start paying attention to you and start deriving fuel from you again. But very often they leave everybody around them in some degree of unfinished state. And this is just the way that they are. They do this because this is how their brains are programmed to deal with people. And it is just how they conduct themselves as far as dealing with their appliances that are around them in whatever grade that they happen to be. Now, the sad, weird thing about narcissists that I find from myself, and this is only my own personal viewpoint, but also the viewpoint, I'm sure, of many other people, as well as some people that I know who have dealt with narcissists as well. This is the way that they deal with other people, and it's very strange because with my narcissist that I dealt with over the past couple years, she would not only conduct herself with me in strange ways where I'd be valued for a while and devalued for a while, and I'd be having a golden period, and then I'd be not having a golden period and be in a devaluation period again. But she also spoke to me very often about people around her, like she had a very close friend, and this close friend used to take care of her children and babysit her children regularly. Now, this person she claimed as being her best friend, she would talk to me about her all the time, but at the same time, she would go through periods where she would be speaking to me about this person, and she would be upset because this person did something. Perhaps they I'll give you one example. One particular time, this person was supposed to actually watch her children, and then they bowed out for some reason because they were unable to do it or just unwilling to do it. I don't remember the exact scenario because I think this actually happened more than one time with this friend of my ex-narcissist. And my ex-narcissist would put this person through a complete devaluation period where she would just smear this person completely. And I mean, I have documentation, messenger documentation of this that I kept along with all my other evidence in case I needed this for court proceedings or anything that went on with my narcissist. And I have reoccurrent times where she would just smear this friend completely and just make them look like they were absolutely awful. They may, in fact, have been maybe not a great friend to her, but she would have times where she would talk about them where they were like absolute gold, and then she would have times where she would just talk about them like they were dog stool on the bottom of your shoe. And it was really disturbing at times because she would go through this with different people, and I'm sure she spoke to other people that she was dealing with probably about me in this way as well too. I certainly know that one of her other ex-boyfriends that she had from earlier on, before I was in the picture, she would smear this person to me quite often, like this, and even right up until the end when I was last dealing with her, she would smear this person. Even in this instance, there was an instance where this individual opened a new business as a tattoo artist, and she literally just conversated with me like this person meant nothing. This person was, I guess, trying to impress her with the fact that they had opened a tattoo parlor, and this is an ex-boyfriend of hers from many years ago, and a person who was actually a really nice guy. But the way she talked about him in her smear campaign at the end here, which I have evidence of as well, she did not paint a very nice picture, and I'm sure that this individual, if he saw what she basically said to me in text form, he would probably not be very happy about what she was saying towards him, and he may indeed not actually deserve the smearing that she gave him in the way that she did. Now, when we're dealing with narcissists here too, of course, one of the things we have to think about is when we're going through periods where we're in golden periods and then we're in devaluation periods, is that when we're in a devaluation period, it really comes down to the factor that, there are some experts on the internet that say that, oh, that narcissist he's thinking about us, he's thinking about doing this, he's thinking in this way that pertains to us. Perhaps he's thinking about what to do to us next, and things of this nature. But really, it's been my experience from what information I've collected studying narcissism, and from my own experiences, that when they're not dealing with you, when it's really the rule of out of sight, out of mind. They're not thinking about you until something pops back up in their brain. They may have an experience where all of a sudden they've heard a song on the radio that they relate to you. This happened to me with my narcissist as well too. There was a very famous rock love song that came on the radio, and she had to write me up this particular day and say, "Oh, I heard this song and it reminded me of you." And she recited me, or sent me, text form of the lyrics, and said, "This song reminds me of you and I," and blah 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 and whatever, because this is what they essentially do. But I think most of the time it really comes down to the fact that when you're not actually being dealt with directly by them, you really are not in their minds. You're really on a shelf, like they say that you are, and they're dealing with the other appliances that are around them, their intimate partner, primary source, or other secondary sources that they may be in contact with, until the time that they come back out and they want to deal with you again. But there's one thing for sure in this instance, is that any narcissist you've been dealing with on any level, they're probably keeping an eye on you. And this has been my experience, because through my use of policing techniques to investigate my own narcissist, I was able to gather evidence that would indicate to me that they would indeed be probably keeping an eye on me on some level, even though I'm not particularly around. Now, I can't go into the specifics of the policing techniques that I use, because some of them are stuff that are used by the FBI, and we're not really supposed to be using those things. But I was able to gain evidence using some of these techniques that would indicate to me that she would indeed be keeping an eye on me on some level, just like I was keeping an eye on her. And this is kind of what they do. If they're out there and you're in a devaluation period or on the shelf, they're probably keeping tabs on you enough that they know where you are and know how to get a hold of you if they want to bring you back in for a hoover, to see if they can get any fuel off of you, or to see if they, are going out of a golden period, perhaps with a new appliance. And perhaps you are, again, being looked at as the shiny thing that they can get fuel off of. And this is really just how they function as a whole. So these are just some of the points I wanted to make that I didn't make in the two prior videos. I may actually do another part 4 concerning understanding the narcissist's mind. But for the moment, I just wanted to make these points to everyone, and just to say to everyone that when you're dealing with a narcissist, it can be anybody in your life. It could be somebody in your office that you're friends with that has been, kind of paying attention to you and has a romantic interest in you. It can be, a friend down the street, a neighbor that talks to you regularly. It can be a family member. It can be anyone. They're everywhere. We have to deal with them in life on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes dealing with them is not really that problematic if you don't have really bad ones. But there are ones that are out there. There are real die-hard ultra narcissists out there, like the one I experienced, that are just ready to take you for a ride. And they have no remorse about doing this whatsoever. They're going to do whatever it takes to gain the fuel off you that they can. And they're going to loop you in. And they're going to do whatever it takes to get you in a position where they can get whatever they need off you. And then they're going to discard you. Or they're going to put you in, a shelving period where they don't pay attention to you. And this can go on for a short period of time, a couple of months. It can go on for years. And You just never know. So one of the episodes I'm going to be doing coming up is going to be an episode all about how to watch out for narcissists and how to see the key things that indicate that you might be dealing with one, and how to identify these things. And also, if you think that you may be dealing with a narcissist that's come into your life as a romantic interest or otherwise, what things you can actually do on social media, and also what applications are out there that you can use to actually investigate this person and see whether or not they're playing games with you and who they really are. So in a future episode, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to try to give you some of the cues that you can use to try to determine whether or not you have a narcissist in your life or not. And hopefully you'll be able to use this information to get yourself out of a bad situation if you're already in one. So this will be in an upcoming episode. So for this evening, I'm just going to bid you all adieu, and stay tuned for the next episodes coming up on the N.A.R.C.N network. Good evening.